In this video, we're going to go over an exercise for building strength in the bottom position of a press to handstand. And one of the really cool things about this specific drill is that it gives a very, very similar feel to what the actual bottom of the press will feel like. So it's great for also understanding and getting a feel for how you should be pressing in the very bottom position. Now, a few levels to this exercise, so we're going to go over a few ways to progress and regress the exercise. You're going to need a wall, and you're going to want to set up with your feet and your butt as close to the wall as possible. Because if everything goes well, you're going to be able to set up basically in the bottom of your press position. And from this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get my hips as close to being on top of my shoulders as possible. Then I'm going to try to elevate my shoulders really hard. So I'm thinking about pushing through my arms into the floor, pushing my shoulders up towards my ears really, really hard. And if things go very well, what I'll be able to do is, and maybe you'll be able to notice on the video, push so high that my feet can leave the floor, maybe even open a bit. The opening is kind of the next step, more so just to showcase. A few things to be mindful of here. First of all, actually getting lift off would be basically step number 2. That would be possible once you already have strong elevation, also pretty strong compression in the position that I was doing here. But you'll still get plenty of benefit out of the exercise as long as you're just able to get the feel for your feet getting just slightly lighter on the floor. Yeah. Now, a few technical things to be aware of. First of all, when I'm sitting up in the position, I want to really think about keeping my upper back rounded, and my shoulders can come slightly forwards, but it has to be with a rounded back, and I'm going to try to resist this as much as possible. Now, in the bottom position of a press, unless you are extremely flexible, your shoulders are going to have to come slightly towards the fingertip side, but we want to minimize how much that happens. Same is true here. We need the shoulders to come slightly forwards, but we're trying to resist this movement as much as possible. Okay? Second thing is, the way that I'm doing it here, that also requires quite a bit of flexibility. You could, if you are lacking a little bit in the flexibility area, you could choose to, and this is generally my recommendation, to just keep the legs slightly bent, still try to get your hips as high as possible up on top of your shoulders, and then do it from this position. The focus is on the shoulders and getting the push correctly, so we don't really want the flexibility to be the limiting factor. All right? And that is basically it. It can take a few attempts, some time and some trial and error to figure out, first of all, the exact distancing you'll need from the wall with the hands, because this is to an extent also a bit individual depending on your proportions, and also just getting a feel for the shoulder push when you're first standing out with this one. It can feel quite funky, so if it feels like you have no idea what you're doing the first time you are giving this a try, don't worry, that's completely normal, and give it time and practice, and I promise you it will get better.